You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a woman is reunited with her dog after it went missing for nearly 5 months.
Also, chaos ensues as protesters in Los Angeles gather over immigration.
And skies continuing to clear ahead of a sunny and warm day for us. We'll have a look at your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. now on this Monday, June the 9th. And of course, we had some thunderstorms through the weekend.
Right.
Some of them were a bit scary out there for sure.
It was very intense.
Certainly
Yes,
picked
yes.
up. And we do not have that as a problem today. And something else that's not a problem, a missing dog.
Yes. Well, a dog that went missing back in December has been reunited with her owner.
KOAM's Mitch Adams tells us how the owner used the power of social media to get Hazel home.
I would have to say she is a warrior for being able to go through what she went through.
Oftentimes when pets run away, it's easy to lose hope. For Kate Anderson, finding her dog Hazel is something she never gave up on. After letting her dogs out in the early morning, Anderson quickly noticed her dogs didn't run back inside like they normally do.
After a minute or two, I decided to go out and check. And that's when I discovered that she had dug a hole in the fence. And they had both escaped.
Both dogs were gone, but Hazel's sister Abby had been found in January.
It was heart-wrenching. It was definitely a gut-wrenching feeling. I mean, they've both escaped before and came back, and I thought nothing of it at first.
Anderson later turned to Facebook, making post after post, hoping someone had caught a glimpse of her dog.
When I first posted, I didn't think anything of it. I thought hopefully somebody would maybe spot them or have them even.
Anderson then got word from her neighbor that Hazel was seen, but had gotten hit by a car.
After she got hit, we were pretty lost. She had gotten hit and was followed by animal control. Dan tried to follow her and followed her to the trails, from my understanding, and lost her. After that, I thought she was gone. I thought I had lost her.
After posting to social media day in and day out to get people's attention, a new lead on Hazel's location finally came to light.
I had gotten a message from a wonderful lady named Sue. And she had posted on my post, she'd commented saying that she thinks that Hazel was in her backyard and that she has Ring video camera and she has a bunch of videos.
After noticing that Hazel seemed to only be seen on the camera at night, Anderson reached out to social media yet again.
And then I got another message from another wonderful woman named Grace, who offered to lend me her trap. And that's when we all came together and decided to set a trap at Sue's house for Hazel.
But after a long 5 months of Hazel being missing, from December to May, Hazel was finally returned to her human's arms.
I mean, we sat in my car and just kind of held each other for a couple minutes. And the drive home, she basically sat on my lap the entire time.
With the community's help, Hazel is now safe and sound, back at home with her sister and human family.
Searching for her and finding her was a town effort. I wouldn't have been able to do it without the people around here and everybody giving me hope.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas, Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Now, as of now, the social media post saying Hazel has been found has nearly 200 responses.
Certainly impressive. Very, very unique to be able to actually have this pup come home as well, because they go missing for more than even just a few
December.
days.
And think about all the weather that we had too over the winter
we've
time.
had some
Wow.
pretty rough weather, so very happy that Hazel
Absolutely.
is home. And you will be happy with today's forecast, as we'll at least have a brief opportunity to dry out across the area. Let's start with that look downtown Pittsburgh. There it is. We've got still some cloudy skies, but you can see sunshine beginning to work into the area. MoDOT camera 20th at range line also showing more sunshine across the area. And as we look at the future track, you know what it's going to show? Well, it can't show the sunshine because it's looking at the ground, but it can show that there's no clouds, which would be indicating that we will be seeing plentiful sunshine out there. Otherwise, it's going to be a great day. Honestly, compared to the last few days, certainly today going to be a much better day. And I want to touch on something very quickly. I know yesterday evening with those thunderstorms, the sirens were sounded in Joplin. I know some folks were a little freaked out by that, especially given how those clouds looked as that storm rolled in. But of course, it was not for a tornado. I've also seen some folks sharing, like there's some social media posts that just because the sirens went off, even though they didn't see anything, they're saying, well, it must mean that a tornado touched down. Like they're saying it as though it's fact. And that's not the case. Joplin's policy is straight line winds 70 miles an hour or greater can still be damaging and destructive, and they will sound those sirens if a storm with those characteristics is rolling in. That's why they were sounded, not for a tornado, but for destructive wind potential. So just remember, all towns have their own policies in terms of sirens, and if you're unfamiliar, you can always check with your local government because they can definitely fill you in. All right, temperatures. Well, we got 62 in Joplin, 59 in Pittsburgh. You can see we're getting some dense fog here on the KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh, looking south toward the truck stop in the intersection of 400 south of Kansas Crossing. So keep that in mind. There's going to be some patchy fog. Temperatures this morning, not bad. Some upper 50s, otherwise low to mid 60s. Our highs today, normal. Upper 70s, low 80s. Sunny skies and a northwest breeze at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. We do have additional rain chances on the way as we head toward the end of this week. We're going to go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, shortly after 11 a.m. Saturday, reports of a crash near the Hickory Creek Bridge over US 60 Cemetery Road alerted 911. It was a single vehicle crash that began on the bridge. The passenger car traveling westbound on US 60 went off the right side of the road down a steep embankment, crashing into trees. The male driver was transported to a Joplin hospital suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Missouri State Highway Patrol is investigating this as a possible DWI crash. Mike Mendez Hernandez of Carthage, Missouri, has been arrested by the Highway Patrol in this case. The former Northern Arkansas police chief turned inmate is back in law enforcement custody. According to the Izard County Sheriff's Office in Arkansas, Grant Hardin was captured Friday afternoon. He was found fewer than 2 miles from the prison grounds he escaped. Hardin pleaded guilty to fatally shooting a man in 2017 and later to raping a teacher in 2019. Before his conviction, he was chief of Gateway in Benton County, just over the state line from Seligman in Berry County. A Joplin man has been charged after he allegedly hit a man with his truck and fled the scene. Carthage police responded to reports of a hit-and-run accident. On scene, officers found an adult victim, Derek Daly, in the road leaning against a vehicle with injuries to his head, face, neck, arm, torso, and leg. He was taken to the hospital to be treated. Eyewitnesses say they saw a black Ford F-150 driven by Gilberto Alejandro going west on Walnut Street when Daly allegedly made an obscene hand gesture toward the truck. The truck then turned around and began going east back to the victim. The witnesses told officers that Alejandro intentionally swerved toward Daly, hitting him. According to court documents, Alejandro turned himself into the police station on June 1st. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, President Donald Trump's order for National Guard troops to respond to anti-immigration protests in California is gaining pushback from key Golden State officials. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has the very latest.
Escalating protests have downtown Los Angeles on edge, with law enforcement using tear gas and rubber bullets to try and break up crowds for a third straight day on Sunday. The The surging tensions follow President Donald Trump's decision to order at least 2,000 National Guard members to the region. The president said local leaders failed to stop protests that began Friday when Trump administration immigration crackdowns led to dozens of arrests in the area.
Nobody's going to spit on our police officers. Nobody's going to spit on our military. If that happens, they get hit very hard.
Crowds and Guard troops came face to face outside a detention center Sunday where immigrants are being held. Traffic on the 101 freeway even grinding to a stop for quite some time as people became barriers.
What we're seeing in LA is chaos caused by the administration. But it does not give you the right to be violent, to create chaos, or to vandalize property.
In a post to X, Golden State Governor Gavin Newsom asking President Trump to rescind the order, calling the National Guard's deployment unlawful. In a similar post, former Vice President Kamala Harris writing in part, quote, deploying the National Guard is a dangerous escalation meant to provoke chaos.
Are you prepared to invoke the Insurrection Act?
Depends on whether or not there's an insurrection.
President Trump says government officials who stand in the way of law and order will face charges. The administration is also watching other cities closely for any additional protests. In Los Angeles, Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Lori is back in the studio sharing her recipe for an apple pie toaster strudel. But first, here's a live look from Fees Park located in Gass, Kansas. Welcome back. Lori is back in the studio this morning showing us her recipe for apple pie toaster strudel. It smells so good already.
I know, right?
What's the next step? What do we have left?
So simple at this point. So we cooked down our apple filling. We basically just made a very simple apple pie filling.
Right.
But I think the key to it, if they can come in a little bit for me, is we really diced our apples up in small pieces.
It looks great.
So this is going to be very easy to layer into our puff pastry. So now it's a little bit of assembly required, but pretty basic.
Sure.
So we're going to start with our refrigerated puff pastry dough. And we've kind of had this debate before of the refrigerated versus the frozen. And genuinely the refrigerated dough, at least the type that I have used, is a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, and it just seems to bake up a little like crispier and lighter.
Is it easier to work with?
I think it's a little easier to work with because it doesn't have that break to it that sometimes you can get from the frozen ones. You don't have to roll it out any thinner because it's just got a better texture to it. So use your preference. Either is fine, but you can generally find the refrigerated or the frozen in any supermarket around here. I've never had any issues. We're going to just roll this out. Again, like I said, we don't have to roll it any thinner. And the refrigerated pieces tend to be just a little bit bigger.
Okay,
so I'm actually going to cut this into 8 slices because of course we need 2 for every one. And we are, if you're again doing this for the kids, you might even want to cut it into 16 pieces and do these about half size.
Okay, wonderful.
Because they're pretty generous.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, you could cut it into your 8 pieces and then just kind of fold them in half as you fill them. Whatever works the easiest. I'm going to move this out of the way.
Okay.
We're going to put this on our parchment lined sheet here because of course that always makes things a little easier. And it's going to give it a really nice golden bottom by baking on that parchment as opposed to directly on the pan. So I'm going to take 4 of these over. It's easy. My paper's got 4 nice dividers on there, so I know they're not going to touch.
Wonderful.
And then we're going to add that filling, and you can be pretty generous with it because these are nice big pieces. These are the adult size ones. So we're going to put several spoonfuls of our filling onto each one. And you guys know I love to use a cookie scoop for everything in life because it just makes things easier and more consistent. So why not use it here as well? We're going to put some scoops there in the middle. And you can see I'm making them, again, pretty generous. We want lots of filling in there. And then we're going to, of course, put another one right on top of each one. This is where it gets, we want to be a little bit more precise.
Okay.
So we're going to fill each one of these. I'm actually going to take the back of my spoon and kind of spread them just a little bit. You don't want to go to the edges because, of course, we want our pastry to meet up with each other.
I want a level layer.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
It'll just make it seal a little bit easier. So we'll do that on each one. And then when we come back, we're going to seal these up, make them ready to bake, and then we're going to make a glaze to go on top of them when they come out. So good.
Sounds incredible. All right, Lori, thanks. Stick around. We'll be right back. We're back with Lori, and she is showing us the last few steps for her wonderful apple pie toaster strudels.
Yes.
So we've done a lot of work. What's left?
Just those final little touches before we pop these in the oven. I've just put the top layer of that puff pastry on there, and I'm taking a fork just to kind of press those edges. One, it makes it look, of course, very authentic, but it also serves a purpose to seal those down. And then we do want to take either your knife, your pizza cutter you use maybe to slice that, and we're going to put some vents in the top of each one because we don't want that filling to just blow up. We want them to come out nice and even. Before they go in, we're going to take an egg wash, and you're going to do the entire top of each one. Make sure you get the edges, and also kind of make sure you go into those little slits that you made for the vents.
Wonderful.
When those get done, they're going to come out a really beautiful golden brown. And I've got some, I'm going to do my farmyard reach here. And when they come out of the oven, this one has no glaze on it yet. They're going to have this really pretty golden top.
It looks fantastic.
What nobody ever appreciates is the bottom. I have to take a minute and say, look how pretty those come out on the bottom.
So great.
They're so good. And when we really fill them up nicely, you can see this one we just cut open, a good layer of filling in there. So, you know, we don't skimp on the apples on that. It's so good. So once they're out, of course, they're ready to eat just like this. I put a little bit of coarse sugar on top as well, because that always looks pretty when it comes out. If you plan to not put the glaze on top, I would suggest that. Gives it just a little bit of crunch to that, and it makes it look really pretty. But you can skip that step if you're going to do the glaze. And where's my measuring spoon? To a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of brown sugar, and just a dash of cinnamon. We're going to add about 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, and just kind of, if you want to take that little whisk and kind of very gently without making a mess.
I'll do my best.
My goal is to never get you messy in the mornings. You have the rest of the day. But we're going to just blend that together, and it's going to make a really, really yummy glaze that will go. You could use this with apple filling, peach filling, blueberry, whatever your preference is, whatever your favorite. It's going to go really well with that. If you wanted to do a cherry, you could leave out the cinnamon, maybe put a splash of almonds in that.
That's always
would be
fantastic.
So good. So then once these come out and they're still just a little bit warm, which of course mine are not today, but you can just take this and drizzle a little bit or a lot on top of that. Serve it on the side of the dip, right? The beauty of these is one, they're not going to last long, but they do keep pretty well. I did these yesterday with the weather that we've been having, as we may have talked about a little bit, humid, a little rain. These actually did bake about 22 minutes. I checked them at 20, and they were a little shiny in the middle, light, but they needed that couple more minutes to be perfection. So don't be afraid to set your timer a little low. You can always add more. You don't want them to overbake.
Absolutely. Well, as always, Lori, these look wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us once again. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 7:26 now on this Monday morning. We're going to start, of course, with the future track for today. Looking great. Of course, we had those strong severe thunderstorms yesterday evening across the area. Some got pretty scary, pretty nasty out there, and did leave some damage behind in some parts of the 4 states. Thankfully, today, an opportunity to clean up where necessary and at least an opportunity to dry out. Again, future track, one model believes we could get a shower out there. I'm going to be honest with you, the chance for that is extraordinarily low, but there is that one computer model that says a shower is possible, and if there's anything we've learned in the past, sometimes it's that one that's right. But we're not really looking at any real rain chances today, which again is good. Overnight tonight into tomorrow, we stay dry, could have some patchy fog to start our Tuesday. And then that'll clear on out. We're going to be a little hotter on our Tuesday. Winds begin to shift out of the west and south progressively, and that will bring in even warmer air for us, but we are still dry. Now we'll see clouds gradually increase a bit overnight into Wednesday morning. We'll have partly cloudy skies on Wednesday, southerly winds, and another pretty toasty day ahead of increasing thunderstorm chances from late Wednesday through Thursday, and then building through Thursday into the upcoming weekend. Still got some clouds out there. Again, they will continue to clear over the next, let's say, half hour, 45 minutes or so. And then eventually we should have sunny skies out there, mid-60s by 8 and into the mid-70s by 11 o'clock this morning. Sunny skies this afternoon, upper 70s and low 80s with a northwest breeze right around 5 to 10 miles an hour. Into the evening and overnight, still clear. Not bad. A little cool tonight, though, mid-50s. And with the calm winds, clear skies, and all the rain, we could get, again, some patchy fog overnight tonight. However, our break from the rain is short-lived as we have additional chances, like I mentioned, very late Wednesday into very early Thursday. We're going to start to have showers, thunderstorms spreading across the area, and these will stick with us through Saturday. Now, some good news about these showers and storms, at least right now, is there's nothing on the data that's screaming severe. There's nothing that's going, this is something that's concerning. What we're more concerned about right now is more heavy rain leading to get additional flooding concerns across the area. As you know, we're only going to get 2 or 3 days before more showers, more thunderstorms, more heavy rain starts to push in. So be prepared for some additional flooding concerns out there. And of course, we will monitor the storms. If there's any kind of strong or severe thunderstorm threat that pops up, we'll certainly let you know. But at least right now, nothing looking too crazy about that. Now, Friday, we get a little pause, but we'll have additional showers and storms by late Friday into Saturday. Most of our Saturday showers, thunderstorms scattered across the area, still toasty. I will begin to dry out as we head into Sunday and the rest of next week. So again, today, average, upper 70s, low 80s, a little above average, mid-upper 80s for Tuesday, Wednesday, thunderstorm chances through Saturday. And as we roll into next week, we'll dry out and temperatures warm right back up again into the mid to upper 80s. Across the area. So again, no severe weather is expected with this activity coming up, but we'll certainly keep an eye on that for you. And of course, just be cautious and wary of the potential flooding concerns. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. I'm Elise Snowy. Several fire department agencies in southeast Kansas learn how to support first responders in the air. A training at the Galesburg Community Center offered instruction on how fire departments can aid med-flight helicopters on scene. Now, an instructor from med-flight in Parsons taught how to communicate with an aircraft, how to make a landing zone, and how first responders can help if a helicopter crashes.
It's a very important training for us to have, just simply because it makes sure that our responders are safe as they're approaching a helicopter, as well as it gives us the capabilities of being able to work with those helicopter crews.
We can partner to provide as much education and safety as far as the whole process of bringing a helicopter into a location. It can be a dangerous situation for anyone and a stressful time for anybody involved.
Several Southeast Kansas agencies participated in the training, including fire personnel from Galesburg, St. Paul, and Hepler. Fort Scott, Kansas held their 44th annual Good Old Days Festival. Craft vendors, food trucks, and more lined Fort Scott's Main Street. The festival kicked off over the weekend with events like a car show, a baby contest, and more.
It has been amazing. The feedback and the support that we've gotten for Fort Scott is amazing. You can go to these bigger cities, but there's nothing like coming to a hometown that has really embraced us and shown their support.
Now, live music was played by different bands, including a band that traveled all the way from Mississippi to perform at the Good Old Days Festival. And now their first Saturday of the month meant another Makers Market in Joplin. Now it's a chance for people to explore the creations of local artisans and vendors. The market has everything from jewelry to art and food.
People in our church who have small businesses trying to start their own small business go to different craft events, different vendor fairs, things like that. And we have this parking lot that's not being used, so we are trying to invite people here to come and pitch their tent and sell their stuff.
The next Makers Market will be July 5th. Now let's head over to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've still got some clouds out there across the area. You can see from downtown Pittsburgh, but skies continue to gradually clear. Still might be an isolated sprinkle or two, but this rain, everything else is going to be wrapping up before too much longer out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line in Joplin looking pretty good this morning as well. On to the future track today, looking pretty good as well. Temperatures going near normal, upper 70s, low 80s. And again, one computer thinks there might be a shower or two. I'm going to be honest with you. I know we've had it happen in the past where that one has been the one that's right. I don't think it's going to be the case today. We're just looking at sunny skies and very warm conditions. Just a nice opportunity to dry out. And unfortunately for some, once again, do some cleaning up out there from the severe weather over this past weekend. 62 in Joplin right now, 61 in Pittsburgh, and across the region, temperatures look like that. They're in the 60s. We're slowly warming up there. We got low mid 60s across the region. And again, we will eventually warm to near average temperatures going into the upper 70s, low 80s, sunny skies, and that northwest breeze 5 to 10. It will be even warmer tomorrow, and then we have more rain chances on the way. Details on all of that here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. So Palestinians in Gaza are on the brink of famine following Israel's almost 3-month blockade of food and aid entering the region. Fox News chief foreign correspondent Trey Yingst has more.
That's right. Aid continues to flow into the Gaza Strip and into the hands of desperate Palestinian civilians. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distributed around 4 million meals over the past week alone and is now starting to expand to other areas of the enclave. Reports indicate the U.S. State Department is considering a $500 million funding push that would allow GHF to continue and increase operations. An Israeli military source talking to Fox News over the weekend said, quote, "We are speaking with countries and other partners that are very positive around participating in this mechanism. They just asked for one request, that we operate for a couple of weeks. Once it will start moving frequently without any disruptions, we believe others will join." While humanitarian efforts ramp up, Israel is continuing to launch heavy airstrikes across Gaza, killing dozens of Palestinians over the past 48 hours. As for Israeli casualties, funerals were held today for 4 Israeli soldiers killed in a building explosion in Gaza. The structure had been rigged by Hamas before the forces entered.
The force operated in the Han Yunis area in the compound belonging to the Hamas terrorist organization. At around 6 a.m., an explosive device detonated, causing part of the building to collapse.
Ceasefire efforts are expected to continue this week, but so far, they've been unsuccessful. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Experts share that to fight the battle against loneliness could be through a furry companion. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Pease Park in Gass, Kansas. In Consumer Watch, we're hearing a lot about the economic uncertainty caused by the tariff war, but small businesses seem to be faring better than large companies, warning of major price hikes and layoffs. Fox News correspondent Brooke Taylor has more from Dallas.
To a trade deal despite mounting tensions on both sides. But it's not clear when it will happen or what the final cost to businesses will be. It's creating headaches at a lot of big companies. But small businesses seem to be navigating the uncertainty a little better, with significant growth being fueled by consumer spending, which is up 5% from this time last year.
Businesses do like certainty, and our businesses, in spite of that, have been performing very well.
Bank of America, which serves more than 3 million small businesses, says it's also not seeing major layoffs due to either tariffs or artificial intelligence. And many small businesses are hiring new employees, with payroll growth up more than 6% this year.
They are continuing to hire. There's competition for talent out there, and we are hearing through our clients that, many of them are hiring recruiting firms or just paying for extra advertisement.
Some experts credit the agility of small businesses to adapt to the new consumer landscape, saying they're better positioned to take advantage of the market changes than well-established companies.
That is the spirit of small and mid-sized companies. They are able to, pivot quickly. They're able to move forward. And really make decisions based on what's happening to them in their industry, in their community.
And President Trump says that trade deal talks with China are going to resume in the next few days. In Dallas, Brooke Taylor, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:44 now on this Monday morning. We're going to start with the future track as we're going to have things start to clear out and be warm again. I mean, don't get me wrong, ahead of the storms yesterday, it was plenty warm, plenty muggy out there, and that's part of what helped fuel those storms. No storms in the forecast for us today, though. By noon, already into the upper 70s for many of us. And again, future track 1 model is picking up on the possibility of a shower. I know I've said it 100 times, but really, we've had those times where 1 out of the 100 says it's going to rain, and that's the one that's right. I do not believe that's going to be the case today. We are looking at just sunny skies, warm conditions, northwest breeze, looking great. Could have some patchy fog overnight tonight and into Tuesday morning. After that, though, another sunny and warm day as warmer air starts pushing into the area. Could even go just a wee bit above average for some of us out there. Have a few more clouds overnight Tuesday into Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies. Another warm one on our Wednesday, but still dry for most of the day. But these south winds bringing in some moisture, bringing in some energy. And we're looking at increasing shower and thunderstorm chances as we go from late Wednesday into early Thursday across the area. Again, with eventual building of shower and storm chances. We're going to talk about those here in just a moment. First, let's get our day started. We've got some clouds. Again, these will eventually begin to clear out there, which will be some good news because we'll get a little more sunshine. Mid-60s to start, mid-70s by 11 o'clock this morning. Into the afternoon, sunny skies. Temperatures about average. Upper 70s, I think most of us will at least make the low 80s. And we'll have a northwest breeze at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we head into the evening, we're going to fall back eventually to the mid-60s by 10. Skies remain clear. Same overnight. Mid-50s tonight. Winds will be calm, and again, that will help possibly lead to some fog and, of course, all that moisture out there as well. So what happens with this next round of storms? Some good news, and I want to point this out. We don't have any areas highlighted for any severe weather concerns at this time with these storms heading in to the end of the week. So that's some good news. There's nothing out there, again, that's screaming severe. There's nothing on the data that says, whoa, 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 you really got to watch this. We'll, of course, monitor that, and if any of that changes, if there's any slight risks or anything added in there, we'll let you know. But right now, the biggest concern with the showers and storms starting by Thursday is going to be for another round of very heavy rainfall, which will only add to the flooding concerns across the area. We only get a couple of 3 days to dry out before we see additional showers and thunderstorms as we roll into Thursday. We get a little break by Friday afternoon, so we start the day, some heavy rain out there. We get a little break by the late afternoon, early evening hours, and then showers and storms will return for us on Saturday before they'll begin to eventually clear out as we roll into Sunday. So again, at this time, not looking at anything severe at this point. Of course, we'll keep an eye on that, but the biggest concern is going to be with more heavy rain just adding to the flooding concerns we already have out there. Hot temperatures, though, next couple of days, mid-upper 80s, thunderstorm chances again through Saturday. We should start drying out again by next week with temperatures heating up again back into the mid to upper 80s. That is a check of your forecast. We will be back with more right after this.
Well, it's not always easy getting older, and besides health struggles, medical experts say elderly people may also face harder times making friends and fighting off loneliness.
Shanley Painter takes a closer look at how the magic of pets can help make an impact.
While the Beatles famously sung, "We all get by with a little help from our friends," veterinarians say friends of the furry, scaly, and feathery variety can also provide a host of perks, especially as we age.
Pets not only benefit us from helping to alleviate loneliness, but they have benefits to our mental and physical health as well.
According to the CDC, older people are more at risk of becoming socially isolated. Roughly 1 in 4 adults report not having some form of social and emotional support.
Loneliness is one of the biggest causes of depression and even can accelerate dementia and death in people. And one of the best ways to combat that feeling is for somebody to have a pet.
Besides making a home feel less empty, pets can provide critical structure to an elderly retired person's life.
They have to get up and feed their pet and maybe have a little cuddle time as well. And having a dog is a great way to get out and go for a walk. Even if you you have a cat, they make strollers and harnesses and leashes.
Walking pets outside can also increase someone's chances for social interactions if they run into neighbors or other owners. The exercise can also work wonders for the mind and body.
That directly impacts our heart health. It helps lower our blood pressure. It helps alleviate stress and anxiety.
Experts say seniors should find a pet that matches their energy and mobility levels. I'm Julie Painter, Fox News.
Very interesting.
It
And,
is.
you know, I love pets, so I'm sure it does, of course, help loneliness and other things, and it's great for your quality of life.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've had pets since I was a kid too, you know, and they do help. You know, when you're a little depressed, you're a little lonely, you just kind of cuddle up with them and they just know how to fill that void
Absolutely.
sometimes. Well, the rain is going to begin to fill that void of dry air once again, but thankfully not today or tomorrow or even Wednesday, really. We should be dry, but I do want to talk about it a little later this week. So we're starting the future track here, the long range one, down by Wednesday about 10 o'clock, and we'll start to have scattered showers, thunderstorms building in late Wednesday. Now remember, again, on the long range future track, it's painting an area where showers and thunderstorms could be. Not that there's this massive wave of showers and storms across Oklahoma or our area. So overnight in the early Thursday morning, around 3, 4 o'clock, we're going to start to see showers and thunderstorms. Now right now, there's nothing with this activity that is screaming severe. There's nothing that's looking too crazy. Of course, that can change, but at least we're close enough to Thursday that if something was screaming severe, we would certainly see it. But our biggest concern right now with any shower and thunderstorm activity later this week is going to be with the additional heavy rainfall we could see. Now, things could change in our favor because I know we've needed the rain over the last couple of years. It's a little too much. We could get a little less, which would not be a bad thing at this point, but we are still, at least right now, looking at the potential for some very heavy rainfall from Thursday into Friday into Saturday with some of the scattered showers and thunderstorms that we see. So that's only going to add to the flooding concerns that we have. Now, by late Friday afternoon, early evening, we'll get a little pause in activity. And then it will resume once again heading into early Saturday morning with more scattered shower and thunderstorm chances throughout the day on our Saturday out there. So we're going to just, again, continue to deal with those rain chances. But between here and there, it's going to heat up. It's going to be dry, an opportunity to maybe get a few things taken care of. Maybe mow the yard before it grows another 2 feet this weekend. We're going to have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. A single vehicle crash alerted first responders Saturday morning near the Hickory Creek Bridge over US 60 Cemetery Road. The crash began on the bridge when the car traveling westbound US 60 went off the right side of the road down a steep embankment, crashing into trees. Driver Mike Mendez Hernandez of Carthage was transported to a Joplin hospital suffering non-life-threatening injuries. Missouri State Highway Patrol is investigating this as a possible DWI crash. And the former Northern Arkansas Police Chief Grant Hardin is back in custody. Hardin was captured Friday afternoon. He was found fewer than 2 miles from the prison grounds from which he escaped. Hardin pleaded guilty to fatally shooting a man in 2017 and guilty of raping a teacher in 2019. Gilberto Alejandro of Joplin has been charged after he allegedly hit a man with his truck and fled the scene. Carthage officers found Derek Daly in the road leaning against a vehicle surrounded by a large amount of blood. Eyewitnesses say they saw Alejandro intentionally swerved towards Daly, hitting him. According to court documents, Alejandro turned himself in at the police station on June 1st. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
As you head out the door, it's going to be another warm day out there, but less rain and more dry. Upper 70s, low 80s today. Northwest breeze about 5 to 10. Sunny skies. Clear skies through the evening and overnight. Maybe some patchy fog. We'll be back down into the mid-50s with calm winds. And we've got those shower and thunderstorm chances that will eventually start arriving by Thursday through Saturday. Flooding concerns, our greatest concern there. And then we, of course, have just the heat between here and there. Mid-upper 80s out there. So just warm, muggy, chance to dry out ahead of additional rain chances. So, well, thank you all so much for joining us this morning. Hopefully you've had a great time, and if you have, then make sure you come back and see us today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.